John.
Angie.
Hello again, my friend.
It's always a pleasure to be here with you, Angie. What's on your mind?
I always have a ton on my mind. You know that. Like we talk before our recording and everything comes out, right? And
It does.
funny. Listen, do you consider us to be experts at what we do?
Somewhat experts, but not without challenges, not without problems or obstacles that we still get in our business, because that never ends, right?
Exactly. And that's what I wanted to kind of bring up today, because I think there's this idea that people think, well, they're podcasting or they've got this, they must be, like sitting on some throne of knowledge.
Yes, they must have all the answers. They're my gurus.
Correct.
And no.
So we're going to kind of chop that down today in our session, right?
Yes. Yeah. We want to be crystal clear that, we've been in the game a long time. We have had a lot of successes. We've had our ups and we've had our downs, but that journey still goes on and it never ends for any of us. But this is the life of a solopreneur, a business owner. It's just what you got to expect, right?
Honestly, even especially in the coaching field, right? In this field, because we've been talking about over, the last several conversations we've been having in our recordings about how it's so much more challenging now. There's a lot more competition. And what does that bring us back to? Like, what is your number one job as a entre/solopreneur? Honestly, what's the job that never goes away?
Feed the beast, get the clients.
Yes, get the clients, right?
Yeah,
it is still
100%.
Oh, it's the thing you can never stop doing and will always be your greatest challenge, even if you're able to, fill a pipeline here and there.
Welcome to the Coaching Clinic with John and Angie.
The show for professional coaches who want to develop their skills and grow their business.
Follow the show on your favorite podcast app.
And join us every Wednesday for new episodes. I have yet to meet the person who has stopped seeking out new.
Let me ask you this, though, because is the problem that coaches have when they start their business, and it can be an ongoing issue, this whole thing of like, how do we keep getting challenges, right?
Yeah.
What has the experience been like for you? I mean, what's the road to getting clients, filling your pipeline, so to speak? What's that journey been like for you?
Something, it's funny you asked that, because I feel like if I look back on all the years when I intentionally began coaching, like started a business and, before that I was coaching unintentionally, had no idea I was a coach, but I was, right? Didn't know. But I think initially there were so many obstacles, and I think I was very short-sighted. Right. So my mentality was, well, this is my business plan. This is how much money I want to make. And if I can get this many clients to buy this program or this product, everything is solved. So that was my first big mistake. Huge mistake. Look at you laughing at me right now.
I'm not laughing, honestly, not laughing at you, Angie. It's more laughing with you, because my own experience of starting up was an effing nightmare. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I'm going to be honest about that. It's like, I definitely was one of the, I feel like sometimes I criticize coaches for coming into this industry and not having a clue what they're doing, but that's what I did. It's like, still around, still had to figure out all this stuff. I was even writing the other day about how I think I was even like very much had that sort of savior complex thing going on when I started, and that was part of the motivation. I got very quickly disabused of that. It's like, oh no, this is not the way to go forward. This is disempowering for people, and this should all be about empowering people. There was a lot of stuff that I got so badly wrong and I've had to figure out along the way. So if you think, oh, well, they've got it all figured out, it's like, by trial and error, more than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
I was clueless, honestly clueless. And we didn't have all the resources that we have now. In fact, every other ad on Facebook, I guess this is the algorithm, but every other ad on Facebook for me or Instagram or whatever is about, I could help you get more clients. I all of this sort of stuff. And it's like, well, can you all do that? Is this all, who's the bro marketers? Who can you trust? Who's actually, what actually works?
Well,
but they're all still
that.
hitting that key problem, right? That's the key thing that coaches need.
But do you feel like that? So this is the thing. This is what comes to mind for me. First of all, I think expectation versus reality are two totally different things. Even if you anticipate, if you're somebody who has never coached or had a business like that before, you might think, oh my God, think of all the people I know. And that's great, right? That'll probably feed you for a little while. Nothing is forever. Your clients inevitably, like, let's be realistic, even your long-term clients, which John and I have talked about like very early on in our recordings about, how do we keep them coming back for more? But we still even if you get a full plate, you need to still keep ideas flowing on how to keep that, that pipeline full. But here's the thing that I wanted to expand on that you just said. It's like we come up with these expectations and the realities are different. You and I think it's a little stinky. We had less competition, but we also had less resources. Now you fast forward to today, right? My first actual coaching business that I incorporated was in 2006. It was a long time ago. Back then I was like, oh yay, I'm incorporated. I did all the right things. I had somebody build me a website for $1 bazillion. And it was it was great because I wasn't really competing with so many people. Now you have all these resources and you are competing. Is it better? And so you could get a little bit more of a blueprint, right? John and I have been joking about creating one for a year, probably. I don't know. Maybe we really need to do this. Keep saying that. But now, even if you don't know necessarily who to trust, you could actually ask AI, how do I start a coaching business? You have more resources.
100%.
So you may not know which path to go. You don't know who to trust. You might make mistakes and still make, I don't want to say poor decisions, because you're making decisions based on what's being presented to you. And you might go, ooh, that was bad. And that could cost you time, but it's a very different landscape. There's plus and minuses to both of those spaces. Yeah, we didn't have competition, but we were clueless. I'm just saying.
But here's how I think about it is, there's a lot of competition out there, but there's a lot of clueless people out there as well. And the majority of it is that. Just being realistic, most people don't have a clue what they're doing. That's life, that's business. You go into it, all these big companies and corporations that everyone must know what they're doing. I can promise you there are people there who are terrified of being discovered. There's their little secret that they haven't really got a clue what they're doing or what they're really supposed to be doing or where to move forward or all of those kinds of things. Business owners have that even more, especially when we're working remotely most of the time and we're often not really connecting with the people who we could get that development with or feedback or growth with. We're not even, don't necessarily have the right coaching or mentorship to be able to help us along that path. So it's fair to assume that a lot of the competition that's out there isn't up to scratch anyway and is not going to stick around in the long term.
Well, I think it's an opportunity not to, I think everybody does the comparison, like I don't look at Tony Robbins, for example. I'm just bringing up the name because even Tony Robbins is still out there shifting his game. He went from talking about, or his entry point 1 million years ago in coaching and speaking, by the way, was from really one space. And now, he'll talk to you about everything from health and wellness to financing to now his big promotion is about, hey, don't be left behind with AI. And obviously he's got resources that most newer coaches don't have, right? He's in a different observation depth.
100%. But I'm not personally not a fan of Tony Robbins, but I do at least appreciate
Don't come at us.
but I do at least appreciate what he's achieved, and that he is at that level of status
Yes.
in the industry or in general, where he
Yes.
can just sort of switch between those things, because that status, that what we call
He
it, that
earned it.
credibility, the
Yes.
credibility carries over into all
Sure.
those different areas, even the areas that he probably isn't an expert in.
Right, but he's
so,
got
yeah,
the
it's fair enough,
opportunity to
fair enough.
hire the experts that'll say, hey, let's have this conversation and let's create some type of a format around it. I would say this. I mean, I don't want to put anybody down or dissuade anybody in any way, because I believe that in order for something to be achieved, you have to create a vision around it. But I don't think I would come out of the gate, even today. If I was a new coach today and had access to all of these resources and people and how they're doing things and social media, I don't think that my aspiration would be like, oh, in a year, I want to be the next Tony Robbins, right? Like, sorry, I'm going to be 57. I'm not flying to the moon. I'm not. But that doesn't mean it can't. So again, I hate to sound like that, because it's very not coachy to say you don't have that expectation. But I think that, for people, I've been coaching a lot of coaches. I don't know about you. And one of the challenges that they bring to me is that even if they had I air quote this, a brand, right? Which I think is a great idea nowadays. You know, I'm trying to be all things, I'm just a life coach. People are kind of shying away from that. They want it to be more specific, right? What is your area of expertise? I don't want a general surgeon. I want a brain surgeon for my surgery.
Yeah.
Right. We want that. So, but some people are losing their way. They are getting, these coaches that I'm coaching, they're even getting distracted because they've been in the game long enough where they're kind of like, well, wait, should I be doing something different? And they start creating, and they almost make themselves new again. And they fumble, right? They're tripping and falling and costing themselves time in their businesses. So I'm seeing that with some of the coaches that I coach. Several, actually.
Yeah. No, I see it with coaches and speakers who I coach. And whilst most of my private clients are in the speaking world, there's certainly coaching gets involved in that as well. But the same, people have been getting a bit lost with that. But the mechanisms for success haven't changed that much. And what has perhaps changed is just the amount of noise in the industry. And we see all the people doing all the things, and like, well, we don't really need to do that. We really do need to focus in. And I think it's the hardest thing to do, because you feel like when you're not at the level that you perhaps want to be at yet, or where you don't feel the security of things are going really well. If you're not in that place, you feel like you have to try every door, pull every lever, do all the things, throw the spaghetti at the wall instead of putting it on the plate and adding the nice sauce. This is trying to do everything all at once, and it's unsustainable, and it's a recipe for burnout.
I think that's something that I'd like to talk about next time. I think it's something like, we're not quite done, but this is a great segue into, like you talk about when you're coaching speakers, right? You're kind of saying, well, what's your message, right? Who do you want to be? What is it? And again, I hate to say the word brand, because everybody likes to talk about the brand, but it's still very important. I would like to carry this on into our next recording, because I think it's important that if you want to create success, before you start thinking about the journey, you have to start thinking about the starting point. What is it that you really want to do? And I'm going to tell you, when John and I talk about people who are really not great at what they do, they can tell you that I am this certified, I'm that certified, I'm a coach of this, I'm a coach of that. Whatever it is, most of the time, unless there is that experience behind them, there's a lot of fluff out there. So I think, because some people are coming into it out of need, I lost my job, now I'm going to be a coach and a consultant, but they don't really have the passion and the heart that makes a great coach. So do you know what I mean? Like, that's...
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Look, I think we can always get better at what we do anyway. People that don't have the skills or knowledge, those things could be gained. But if you don't know why you're doing it in the first place, if you don't have a clear objective of where you're heading to, or what success looks like for you, if you can't really define who you need to become or what you need to do in order to achieve those things, the journey is going to be unpleasant and probably unsuccessful. So these are really important elements to get.
It's like starting a hike barefoot.
Yeah.
Look at your face, but you know what that feels like. Like, think about it. I'm all about getting my toes into the sand or the grass or something, but try walking on rocks for a little while. It's painful, and it makes you then that hill look even that much more arduous. Like, who wants to do that? So yeah.
Like stepping on a Lego brick, right? It's not nice.
Right. Exactly.
Let's continue the conversation next time, Angie.
Do you have a question for the coaching clinic?
Reach out on LinkedIn to connect with Angie and John.
Leave us a voicemail or video message and we will feature you on the show.
You can also leave up to 90-second voicemail for free on www.speakpipe.com/the Coaching Clinic podcast.
We'd love to hear from you.
See you next time.
Bye for now.